for it again.
Yes, it started again.
Okay, number 9 is sodium carbonate. Here it is. I don't know what to say about it. I have noticed it has kind of a soapy feel. I have to investigate why that is when it's dissolved in water or when I'm cleaning up after it. But common laboratory chemical. Here's one named lead 2 nitrate. Lead, parenthetically, Roman numeral 2 nitrate. So the nitrate is a polyatomic ion, and of course the lead is not technically a transition metal, but it is a metal that has more than one possible valence. So we write that charge as a Roman numeral in the name. We no longer say plumbic or plumbus for the different forms of lead, +4 and +2. The next one is sodium ethanoate. That's its formal name. It's also known as sodium acetate, and that's okay too. But sodium ethanoate is a beautiful, very crystalline substance with sparkly crystals. Ammonium chloride is our sample number 12. If you open the bottle, you can actually even smell some of the ammonia as it's given off. It's a chloride salt of ammonium ions. Number 13 is sodium phosphate. You may know this as trisodium phosphate. TSP, it's used as a great cleaning agent for prepping surfaces before painting. Number 14 is calcium hydroxide, a base that is a powder. Looks like a fairly fine powder here. A basic ionic substance, technically just a base, formed with the group 2 metal calcium. Number 15 is tin 4 chloride, and I don't have any of that in our stock, so I'm just going to leave that blank. The next one is potassium bromide, KBr. Oops, that was the answer, KBr. But number 16 is potassium bromide, another binary salt, simple salt, that we'll be using in our lab. Number 17 is CaCl2. It's kind of in like pellet-like crystals and powder, but it's CaCl2. Ca is a group 2 metal, so it has a +2 charge. Chlorine is a group 7, so it has a -1 charge. So of course you need 2 chloride ions for every calcium, and you'll need to name that compound. Next I have iron chloride. I should go get the stock bottle. It's very interesting. It took me about 5 minutes to get this amount out. It's a golden, crystalline, but very wet crystal that sticks together. It's very hygroscopic, and it clumps and lumps up together. And in fact, if you look at the bottle, it gives its name. Its formula is FeCl3. So iron, Fe, has 2 different possible charges. It can be +3 or +2. The old name for this would have been ferric ions, but it's now Fe, Roman numeral 3, and this iron +3 ion combines with 3 chlorides to form the compound you're going to name. But when you buy it, you look up its name, but the other thing you can also see on the label is its form. It's not really called crystalline. It says lumps, and you have to dig it and break it off the lumps to make a solution. Very difficult to weigh out, very difficult to accurately make a solution of defined concentration. The next 2 are very interesting salts. The first one is Na2HPO4, although this is technically the heptahydrate, we'll talk about hydrates when we do a hydrate lab, where we determine the amount of hydrate in a hydrated compound. Just getting ahead, some compounds have associated with them bound water in distinct molar ratios. I didn't mention it earlier, but our magnesium sulfate is much the same thing. I think it might be a heptahydrate. Maybe it's a pentahydrate. I'm trying to remember what the hydration state of regular Epsom salt magnesium sulfate is. But this one is Na2HPO4, and the next one is NaH2PO4. And they look very similar, but one is, this one to me is not quite so opaque and a little more crystalline with finer crystals. This one is the monohydrate, and so this one has 1 sodium and 2 hydrogens, and the previous one had 2 sodiums and 1 hydrogen. So if you will give me the name for that compound in box number 20, you will be complete for this lab. So I will print further instructions for filling out the lab on Moodle, and if you haven't done it already, download the lab, fill it out. We'll have you scan it and send it back to me, or arrange a way for you to turn it in. We'll do whatever you need to do. Take pictures of it, fax. I used to tell people I'll meet you there at 2 in the morning if I know you're coming, but we can't do this in the days of coronavirus. But we'll find a way for you to get this lab completed and turned in, and we'll get started on our next lab. Thanks again, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye now.